Reading and writing, fill in the blanks. Let's begin this session. Here's question number 1. Let's quickly skim through. Due to their working heritage, border collies are very demanding. They thrive either with humans or other dogs due to their demanding personalities, need, exhibit a strong desire, the breed's herding trait. All right, so I'll just read that much. So this is about a type of dogs, border collies, and tells different things about them essentially. Now let's look at the first blank. Due to their demanding personalities and need for mental dash and exercise. So need for mental. So mental is an adjective, and after that what we need a noun. So that can be classified as something mental. So mental reversal, mental scheduling, mental selection, mental stimulation. So stimulation is appropriate because it's mental stimulation. It refers to activities that engage and excite the mind, just as we're talking about the need for exercise. So similarly, they also need mental exercise or mental stimulation. The next blank now, they are infamous for chewing holes in walls and furnitures and dash scraping and hole digging. So we need an adjective here before scraping. So what type of scraping can it be? Stable scraping, sufficient scraping, underlying scraping, or destructive scraping? I think destructive, because we are talking about some damage they do. They are infamous for it, means not famous for a good reason. And the bad reason is that they do this damage. They chew holes in walls and furniture, and destructive scraping. The next blank now. Eminently, however, being dash trainable, they can live amicably with other pets if given proper socialization training. So trainable. So we need that the college, they are trainable. So trainable here is an adjective. It tells us something about the college. So before that, what we need an adverb. And which of those it can be? However, being visually trainable, liberally trainable, approximately trainable. Now, all of these are correct from a grammar point of view, but only eminently, because it means to a very good degree, that they are highly trainable, they are very trainable. So that's why we select this, because it makes logical sense. The next blank now, the American Border Collie Association recommends that potential owners, before taking on the breed as a house pet, should be sure they can provide regular exercise dash with the collie's high energy and prodigious stamina. So what we need here, we need an adjective, because they sort of looking for something that describes the relationship between the exercise provided and their high energy level. So some word that has that meaning, they can provide regular exercise proportional with or in relation to the college high energy. So the correct word is commensurate. So that is correct. It means corresponding in size or degree or in proportion. Now let's look at the last blank. These dogs will become dash and frustrated. So they will become dash and frustrated if left in isolation. So which of these words in the options goes with frustrated? Will become excluded, distressed, enforced, preceded. So, distressed, as it indicates suffering because of lack of activity, attention, or social interaction. So distress and frustration, they go hand in hand. So that's why the word that we need here is distressed. Let's go to the next question now. A large number of MNCs generate a portion of the sales from countries outside the US, have significant presence, opportunity for growth and profit, and sometimes out of sheer due to the fact that globalization in the past expansion was limited to those required to locate offices. With only a 1 to 5 dash of internet users living in the United States, in places abroad. Remember that selling internationally is not as simple as just setting up a website. All right, so the text is about how earlier the companies, they needed to have an international presence and it was challenging. But with the internet, it's simple. But then it also talks about some of the challenges with online sales. So now, with that context, let's look at the first blank. Companies such as Coca-Cola, eBay, Gillette, KFC, and Starbucks have a significant presence in dash countries. Dash countries. You need an adjective here. So which countries would these be? Minimal, sequential, topical, or foreign? foreign countries, because they're also saying outside the United States. So the text is written by somebody who calls United States home, and for them, other countries, they are foreign countries. Now let's look at the next option. Many companies expand selling to international markets for several reasons, including slow population growth in the domestic country, increased competition, opportunity for growth and profit, and sometimes out of sheer dash due to the fact that globalization is rapidly changing the economic landscape. So we need something which is a reason here, because they're talking about the reasons why the companies expand out of sheer what? Out of sheer partnership, sheer negation, sheer offsets, sheer necessity here. That it's a sheer need means a required, that it becomes important. So almost essential. So out of sheer necessity, they expand. Now the next blank, expansion to foreign markets was limited to those corporations that could make the dash required. They could make the what required. So we need to look for a noun. So something the corporations, they made to locate offices and operations. Illustration, principle, incorporation, investment. So you make an investment with the expectation that this expansion, it will generate an income or profit. The next, with only a 1 to 5 dash. So what is 1 to 5? 1 to 5 is a proportion. So 1 out of 5. So that's why we select proportion here. That was simple. And now the last one, language, shipping, currency exchange, and taxes are just some of the costs and dash necessary for selling products and services internationally via the internet. So what we need a noun to collectively describe the various factors that must be taken into account when selling internationally. So we've spoken about some of the costs, and along with cost, what other things need to be taken into consideration, and costs and consideration. That's the correct option there. So these are your answers: foreign, necessity, investment, proportion, and considerations. Let's go to question number 3 now. The practice in the medieval university was for the instructor to read from an original source. The reading evolved into reading of glosses throughout much of the history. The dash of knowledge by handwritten lecture notes. The lecture notes taken by students have sometimes achieved wide. Many lecturers were and still are reading their own notes. Nevertheless, modern. Okay, so this is about how lectures were delivered or are being delivered in universities, and just things around that as a medium of instruction. So let's look at the first blank. Throughout much of the history, the dash of knowledge. So we need a dash of knowledge. We need a noun that tells us, describes the process of how we spread this knowledge. Okay, because that's the part of what that is what academic is about. You share knowledge, you spread knowledge. So which of these words, the dash of knowledge, the alteration of knowledge, the confirmation, the accompaniment, or the diffusion? So diffusion is correct, because diffusion, it refers to the spread of something more widely. And then the other words, if you combine them with of knowledge, don't really make any sense. Let's look at the next one. Have sometimes achieved wide dash. So achieve what? Wide. We need again noun, and we need something which measures the extent to which related to these lecture notes. Have achieved something wide. So you achieve popularity, you achieve success, wide popularity, or if it's a written material such as a newspaper, magazine, or notes in this case, circulation. So achieved wide circulation. The next blank now, nevertheless, modern lectures generally dash additional activities. So we need a verb here to describe the action of including something as part of it. So the lectures generally what? Include those additional activities. And what's the word for that? Incorporate. Within them, they contain or incorporate these additional activities. Now let's look at the last sentence. Most commonly, however, only dash composed of bullet points are presented. So we need something which says, however, only dash bullet points are presented. So what can be presented as bullet points? Paradigms, paragraphs, outlines, or equations. So outlines, because we are talking of bullet points, which is sort of summary or the main point, or an outline. These are all the correct options. You may pause if you need to spend some time understanding this better. So you can have a read of the paragraph and think again why we picked the correct option. And now let's look at the final question in this practice session. Modern commercial fast food is often highly standard ingredients, standardized cooking, rapidly served in a fashion, and then shipped to individual where they reheated, eliminate labor, etc. because of commercial emphasis. Okay, so this talks about how the modern commercial fast food is prepared and the things around that related to its circulation, what factors determine how it is prepared. So let's look at the first blank. Modern commercial fast food is often highly and prepared in an industrial fashion. So we need an adjective to describe the extent to which fast food is prepared or how it is prepared. So the word is processed, often highly processed. And there's a good chance you have heard these words before. When we talk of fast food, we say these are processed foods or highly processed food. So that's our correct option. The next one, it is usually rapidly served in cartons or bags or in a plastic in a fashion that minimizes cost. So what can be a plastic in which the food is served? It's a plastic wrapping. Don't just say that a tape. So a tape might be put on the packet, but if you talk about the whole package in which it is served, then it has to refer to wrapping. So it's a plastic wrapping. The next one, from a central supply facility and then shipped to individual what? So from one place they are shipped to. So the food is then prepared at one place and then sent to individual outlets, right? That's the correct word. The outlets, it refers to those individual locations. So corresponds with the shipped and moving from a central supply facility to a number of other locations. So outlet is the right word. The next option, this process ensures a consistent level of product quality and is key to being able to deliver the order quickly to the customer and eliminate labor and costs in the individual store. So another word which can go with, which can describe the type of costs here, because one, we are talking about the eliminate labor cost, and then what's the other type of cost here? The equipment cost. So if the preparation is also done and the food is just sent ready, then you don't need to have all the equipment at each outlet. The last option, because of commercial emphasis on quickness, uniformity, and low cost, fast food products are often made with ingredients to achieve a ingredients So we need a verb here to describe how the ingredients are designed or engineered. With ingredients, basically something we can say made to achieve. So ingredients are put together to achieve or ingredients are made to achieve. And the word that has the similar meaning here is formulated. Okay, so they have been deliberately composed. Ingredients have been combined together to meet a specific criteria. So those are correct options here. And that's all. That was the last question in this practice session. Make sure if you need to spend time, you go back and try to understand why we made the selections, why one option is correct and why the other options, they were wrong. Try to understand the reason behind them.